Hakeem Olajuwon was most known for his footwork, finesse, balance, and fluid movements. David Robinson had the agility, the face-up game, and the foot speed. Shaquille O'Neal's game was about power, and he featured that deceptively quick spin move. Alonzo Mourning was known for his ruggedness, fierceness, and being extremely physical. And then Patrick Ewing arguably had the best mid-range shooting touch of them all. Except for Michael Jordan, the 90s were dominated by all-time great centers, with those five being at the top of the list. As far as Ewing, his signature was his turnaround fall-away jumper out of the post. There was nothing really fancy or dazzling about it, but it was consistent and reliable. What he did time and time again was bump off his post defender, turn, and knock down mid-range shots going in either direction. He had a great drop step as well. He would often go baseline when he sensed a second defender was coming over to help from the middle. Amazing was that even with taking so many mid-range shots, Ewing managed to shoot over 50% from the field 8 out of 9 seasons from 1986-87 to 1994-95, and the one year he didn't in that time period, he shot 49.8%. He also was good at popping out to the mid-range after setting an on-ball screen and then knocking down jumpers off the catch. Occasionally, you'd see him pop back from the post for mid-range jumpers as well when a teammate started driving in. Shot distance field goal percentages didn't start getting tracked until the 96-97 season, so we'll never know how efficient Ewing precisely was during his prime from the mid-range, but he did take the second most shots between 8 and 12 feet out during that 96-97 season and made 47.2% of them per stat head. Among the 37 players that season who took at least 100 of them from that range, that was the 7th best mark. Ewing was also very good going across the lane, where he'd use a combination of long strides and physicality, as well as some hang time and shot fakes to score over or around his defenders. This is when we'd see him draw a lot of fouls, and he was a very good free throw shooter for a big man, shooting 74% from the stripe in his career. The best he ever shot from the line, though, was 77.5%, which was in the 1989-90 season. In his prime years, Ewing was among the dunk leaders as well, although it is unclear exactly how many he had because they didn't start getting tracked until 96-97. That year he had 87 of them, and that was at the tail end of his prime. Now Ewing himself took very few threes, but what helped the Knicks go from being very good in the early part of the 90s to a championship contender under Pat Riley was their increase in three-point attempts, with John Starks and Hubert Davis taking most of them. In 92-93, New York took the 19th most threes, and then in 93-94, which was the year they went to the finals, they took the 9th most. The following season, 94-95, they took the 6th most. When Ewing got doubled in the post, he would sometimes find Starks, Davis, or Derek Harper for good three-point looks. But what really made the Knicks so good in that time period was their defense. It was an absolute nightmare for opponents to try and score inside against them, which is why they ranked in the top 5 in opponent field goal percentage every season between 1991-92 and 2000-01. They were number 1 5 of those years. They were especially dominant defensively with Ewing, Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, and Charles Smith guarding the interior. They won so many games in the trenches. Ewing had 8 seasons in which he averaged at least 2 blocks and 1 steal. That's tied for the 4th most times in the NBA since blocks and steals started getting tracked in 1973-74. Hakeem Olajuwon, Anthony Davis, and David Robinson are the only others with more. Ben Wallace and Marcus Camby are the others with 8. Ewing made the all-defensive second team 3 times, and 3 times he finished 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He made some big shots in his career as well. Among them was his putback at the buzzer on Christmas Day in 1986 against the Bulls. Here against the Clippers on January 27, 1994, he hit this game-winning fadeaway jumper. Arguably his most memorable clutch bucket was his putback dunk off a Starks miss that put New York up 1 with about 27 seconds left in Game 7 of the 1994 Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers. The next year, in Game 5 of New York's second-round series against Indiana, he made this game winner with 1.8 seconds left. That shot, however, is often forgotten because in Game 7 of that series, he missed a potential game-tying finger roll as time expired, in what is still regarded as one of the most heartbreaking losses in Knicks history. That would be Pat Riley's last game as the head coach of the Knicks before he went off to Miami to coach the Heat. Several years later, Ewing would hit one of his trademark turnaround baseline jumpers to win a game for the Knicks against the Pacers on April 10, 2000. A big turning point in Ewing's career came in December 1997 when he suffered a major wrist injury on his shooting hand during a game against the Bucks in Milwaukee. He missed the rest of that regular season, but did return in the second round of the playoffs against the Pacers. Still, he was never the same player and would be injury-prone going forward. After 15 years with the Knicks, he was traded to the Sonics in 2000. He played in Seattle for a season and then signed as a free agent in Orlando in 2001, which is where he finished his playing career. All in all, he was an 11-time NBA All-Star, made the All-NBA First Team in 1990, and made the Second Team 6 times. He also is a 2-time Olympic gold medal winner with Team USA, first in 1984 while a college player, and again as part of the Dream Team in 1992. The most points he scored in a game was 51, which came on March 24, 1990 against the Celtics. He had one triple-double in his career, a 28-point, 15-rebound, 11-assist performance against the Hornets on April 19, 1996. Although he was a member of the Knicks in 1999 when they made the finals, he was unable to play that series against the Spurs because of a partial tear of his left Achilles tendon, so his one finals appearance was in 1994 against the Rockets. So that will wrap up this video. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe.